Now, as China marks one of its most important holidays, the Lunar New Year, concerns there are growing about the coronavirus outbreak. As millions go home for the holidays, travel restrictions have been expanded to 13 cities, home to more than 36 million people in Hubei province, the centre of the outbreak. The Chinese authorities say 26 people have died. Here, all those who've been tested are clear of the virus. The BBC's Kerry Allen is a China media analyst. Kerry, you've been across this all through today and indeed across the week. What are the latest figures coming out of China?
Well, the latest figures we've seen today is that there are at least 881 confirmed cases, 26 deaths. There's a real emphasis on a number of people being cured. So China's been putting out reports saying that 34 people have been cured or released from hospitals. But it's saying that at least 9,500 people are recognised as people who've come into contact with people who've had the virus. And also, we have to factor in that, it's just gone past midnight now in China. So Spring Festival, Chinese New Year has arrived. And I think after today, or basically now Chinese New Year's arrived, people are going to be travelling home now. So there's suddenly going to be mass transport again if people can leave certain areas, or, just not in Wuhan or in central Hubei, but just in general, there's going to be a big travel trend anyway. So I think we're going to expect a lot more figures in the coming days and a lot more anxiety.
Quite a lot of pictures coming out of Wuhan, of a lot of people queuing in hospitals. I've seen pictures of what people who look to have died wrapped up on the floor. What are we hearing from the city itself?
Yeah, I've seen this footage and we're still looking to verify it. I didn't think it was very likely. I know just from personal experience of living in China that hospitals can be a bit of a free-for-all. They're not places where you make an appointment in the morning and you turn up on time. You more or less just turn up, you pay as you go. And yeah, sometimes it is just chaos. So people will be turning up and some will be being turned away. There'll be crowds of people who, if they've got a cough, bear in mind as well, it's winter. So some people will just have normal flu, or they might have colds, etc., and are quite concerned. So there will be a lot of chaos at hospitals, but at the same time, people who are in critical condition, they're straight away media are trying to be as transparent as possible. So any reports of suspected cases out of any province in the country, there are reports saying this person is this age, they're in a stable condition, or they're in a critical condition, and they're being treated where exactly they're being treated. Say if they're in quarantine, for example.
But you can see why some people might suspect that the figures might be being underreported. It seems like an awful lot of effort is being gone to within China to stop movement. We're seeing pictures of a 1,000-bed quarantine hospital, which is apparently going to be built within a week. And it seems quite a lot of effort to go to if only 26 people have died so far.
Yeah, there are 3 billion journeys expected in total during Spring Festival, the holiday period. So China's got a population of 1.4 billion people. So that is, this is factoring in buses, trains. So some people will be making more than one journey. But that's, if you imagine, it's a fifth of the world's population, all making a journey each there and back, like the effect. So it's there is going to be a lot of transportation. This hospital that's being built, the date that's expected for this, it's going to be 25 square meters. 25,000 square meters, sorry.
That would be tight for 1,000 beds, wouldn't it?
The expected date that this is going to be built is the 3rd of February, and it's a prototype model of a hospital that was built during SARS in Beijing. So they've already got a model in place of a specific type of hospital that's going to be built. Already there have been the Ministry of Finance has released 1 billion yuan. That's roughly 100 million. 100 million, gosh, I'm doing a lot of conversions, aren't I? 100 million pounds that's been released out of the Ministry of Finance to deal particularly with this coronavirus. So there's a lot of extra measures being put in place for finance as well. And there are hotlines that have been introduced, so people can ring hotlines, say if they've they're concerned about their mental health at this time, especially within the province of Hubei, if they just want somebody to talk to. So there's a lot of different ways that people can reach out, and there's a lot being done throughout the country to be seen on top of this.
Yeah, and from your experience of living in China and of being across this all week, are you surprised by how open the Chinese authorities appear to have been?
Well, I mean, I've been looking at Sina Weibo. I've been looking at this since the beginning of the year now. And I know last week, there were a lot of questions on social media platform called Sina Weibo, which is like Facebook or Twitter, about why then there were only cases being reported in Wuhan, because people knew that the travel period had begun, so people were traveling overseas. They were also traveling all around the country, and there was a suspicion that suspected cases were being held back. Then there were some very official reports from very senior officials saying if you withhold information or you delay reporting, you'll be nailed to the pillar of historical shame. And so suddenly lots of suspected cases came out. I mean, it might have been that there were areas that were expecting these anyway. I mean, we've also seen government media reports. I mean, normally they try to look on the bright side. They try to promote the good that the hospital workers are doing, and they try to put an emphasis on this, trying not to make people feel afraid, because this is a huge population and people could there could be widespread panic. At the same time, I've seen top newspapers that are saying that Wuhan didn't do enough to control this in time, and they're being actually very critical, and that's quite surprising. Chinese media don't like to point the finger and say that we weren't able to control this. But at the very, very top level, they are saying that this still can be contained within the country.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed for your time this evening and throughout this week. Kerry Allen there, the BBC's China media analyst.